In the summer of 2010, the basketball world held its breath. LeBron James, the most hyped and talented player of his generation, stood at a crossroads. 7 seasons with the Cleveland Cavaliers had given fans glimpses of greatness, MVP awards, unforgettable playoff performances, and the hope of a championship-starved city resting on his shoulders. But there was also frustration, playoff exits, roster weaknesses, and the nagging thought that maybe Cleveland could never surround him with the right pieces. In reality, LeBron announced the decision and took his talents to Miami, sparking outrage and heartbreak across Ohio. But what if that never happened? What if LeBron James chose loyalty over departure and stayed in Cleveland, determined to finish what he started? This single decision would ripple through the NBA, reshaping not only LeBron's legacy, but the entire balance of power in professional basketball. In this alternate history, the moment of departure never comes. Instead of a televised special, instead of burning jerseys and betrayal, LeBron steps onto the podium and delivers a different message: that he will not abandon his hometown, that he will push forward with the Cavaliers no matter the odds. The cheers from Cleveland erupt, the despair turns into unshakable hope, and the course of NBA history veers into uncharted territory. The immediate ripple is seismic. Miami, stripped of its dream scenario of pairing LeBron with Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh, becomes merely a strong playoff team rather than an instant dynasty. Without LeBron's presence, Wade shoulders a heavier burden, while Bosh remains an all-star, but not the transformative force fans expected. The Heatless never form, and the Eastern Conference does not tilt in Miami's favor. Instead, Cleveland becomes the center of intrigue, the epicenter of basketball drama. But the question remains, could Cleveland, with its flawed roster and uneven front office, truly build a championship-caliber team around LeBron? In this timeline, pressure mounts on Cavaliers management like never before. Fans, now galvanized by LeBron's decision to stay, demand moves, trades, and commitments to surround their superstar with the pieces needed to contend. Management cannot afford complacency. The 2010-2011 season begins with a sense of destiny. LeBron, knowing that his decision to stay will forever define him, plays with a renewed focus. The boos that followed him in arenas across the league in reality are now replaced by respect. Not admiration, but acknowledgement that he has chosen the harder path. He isn't chasing super teams. He's staying home to fight the uphill battle. His numbers are staggering, his leadership sharper than ever, and his determination contagious. The Cavaliers, however, still face structural weaknesses. The roster, built around Mo Williams, Anton Jamison, Anderson Varejao, and role players, lacks the firepower to take down Boston's Big Three or Orlando's Dwight Howard-led squad. But LeBron's presence ensures Cleveland remains a top Eastern Conference contender. Every game feels like a referendum. Did he make the right choice? Can one player carry a franchise through sheer force of will? Fans across the NBA are divided. Some admire LeBron for staying loyal, seeing him as a warrior willing to grind through adversity. Others question whether he has doomed himself to a career of great stats but empty playoff exits, comparing him to stars who never captured a ring. The debate grows louder as the Cavaliers clash with Boston in the playoffs yet again. In this alternate timeline, the 2011 playoffs take on a new dimension. Without LeBron in Miami, the Celtics remain the dominant force in the East, but they're aging, their legs slowing just enough to give Cleveland a fighting chance. LeBron delivers Herculean performances, pushing his body to the limit in a desperate bid to carry Cleveland to the finals. Each game becomes a war of attrition, and each highlight, the dunks, the chase-down blocks, the impossible fadeaways, cements his reputation as a player unlike any other. But there are cracks in the foundation. The Cavaliers lack depth, and by the later rounds of the playoffs, exhaustion and roster limitations become clear. They push Boston to the brink, but without a second superstar, Cleveland falls short. LeBron collapses on the court after the elimination game, not because he has failed his city, but because he knows how much harder the road ahead will be. Still, in this timeline, the defeat doesn't spark outrage. Instead, it sparks belief. Fans see a man committed to the long journey, and Cleveland rallies behind him even more fiercely. the narrative around LeBron begins to shift. In our real timeline, critics mocked him for chasing rings in Miami. But here, he becomes the face of loyalty, the player who chose not to cut corners. Media outlets run with headlines like, "The last true franchise star," and "LeBron against the world." His story becomes not just about basketball, but about legacy, about rewriting what greatness means in the NBA. As the early 2010s unfold, Cleveland is forced to adapt. Free agents who might not have considered Cleveland in reality now see it as the home of the NBA's brightest star, a destination rather than a wasteland. The front office makes aggressive moves, trading draft picks and contracts to bring in talent. Whispers of possible pairings with players like Chris Paul or even Dwight Howard begin to surface, fueled by the idea that LeBron's loyalty makes Cleveland an attractive long-term project. Meanwhile, the Western Conference continues its battles, with the Lakers, Spurs, and eventually the rising Thunder shaping the finals landscape. But without Miami's super team blocking the path, the Eastern Conference race becomes more open. Each year, the question grows louder. Will this finally be the year Cleveland breaks through? LeBron's decision to stay does more than alter his own path. It alters the narratives of countless others. Miami never becomes the dynasty that terrorized the league. Dirk Nowitzki's 2011 triumph remains legendary, but it comes against a different opponent. Boston's decline feels less like a passing of the torch and more like the slow fate of giants. And the young Chicago Bulls, led by Derrick Rose, suddenly find themselves as Cleveland's fiercest rivals rather than an afterthought. The East becomes a battlefield where no outcome is certain. By 2012, LeBron is in his prime. His body is at its peak, his skill set unmatched, and his hunger insatiable. But the pressure grows heavier with each passing season. Fans adore him, but adoration alone cannot replace the hunger for a championship. Analysts question how long loyalty can be celebrated without results. And in locker rooms across the league, whispers turn into challenges. Can LeBron win in Cleveland? Or will his career be defined by what-ifs? This is where the rising action truly begins to build, as LeBron's saga intertwines with shifting rivalries, bold trades, and the constant push of history. The 2012 season unfolds with Cleveland at the center of NBA attention. By staying, LeBron James has transformed the Cavaliers from a mid-market team into the most scrutinized franchise in basketball. Every game feels like a referendum on loyalty, on greatness, on whether one man's commitment can outweigh the gravitational pull of super teams. And LeBron rises to the occasion. His stat lines are monstrous, averaging near triple-doubles on a nightly basis. He dominates both ends of the floor, his chase-down blocks sending shockwaves through arenas, his leadership pulling role players into moments of unexpected greatness. But as the playoffs loom, the cracks remain. Without a true co-star, Cleveland struggles to keep pace with deeper teams. The Bulls, powered by Derrick Rose's MVP campaign, become a formidable rival. Their battles against Cleveland are not just physical but symbolic. The young, explosive Rose against the seasoned, relentless LeBron. Each series is a clash of wills, and fans know they are witnessing something special. In 2012, Cleveland pushes through a brutal 7-game series against Chicago, with LeBron putting up a 45-point masterpiece in Game 7, dragging his team to the finals. There, standing in their path, are the Oklahoma City Thunder, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, a young core destined to shake the league. The finals are electric, a generational clash between LeBron's loyalty and OKC's rising dynasty. But the Thunder's youth and depth prove overwhelming. Cleveland falls in 6 games, LeBron once again coming agonizingly close but falling short. The narrative intensifies. Critics point to his finals record, to the lack of rings, to the endless debate about whether loyalty without victory is noble or tragic. Supporters counter that his journey is redefining greatness, that he is showing the courage to fight uphill battles rather than chasing easy success. Cleveland, once a forgotten franchise, now stands at the heart of the NBA's biggest conversations. The front office feels the weight of history pressing down. By 2013, they make a bold move, trading for a star-caliber guard to ease LeBron's burden. The details vary in this alternate reality. Perhaps Chris Paul, Perhaps another all-star guard whose trajectory shifts without Miami in play. Whoever the acquisition, Cleveland finally gives LeBron a partner, and the Cavaliers transform from gritty contenders into true championship threats. Their battles with Indiana's Pacers become legendary, Paul George rising as a foil to LeBron in the East. The matchups with Chicago remain ferocious, though Derrick Rose's tragic injuries still alter that rivalry. And in the West, dynasties shift. The Spurs remain steady, OKC battles for ascendance, and the Warriors, still drafting and building, quietly prepare to change basketball forever. LeBron's loyalty becomes a beacon. Younger stars take note, fans across the league rally behind him, and Cleveland itself transforms. The city invests in its arena, in its team, in its identity as more than just a small market, but as the home of the NBA's defining player. By 2014, the Cavaliers are no longer underdogs but legitimate contenders. The 2014 finals bring LeBron his greatest test yet. In this timeline, Cleveland faces the San Antonio Spurs, the dynasty of precision, teamwork, and discipline. The contrast is stark. LeBron's singular brilliance and his partner's dynamic play against the machine-like execution of San Antonio. The series is brutal, each game a tactical battle, each possession a war. Game 6 becomes the defining moment. Down 3-2, LeBron puts on a performance that echoes through time. 50 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, carrying Cleveland on his shoulders as he forces a Game 7. The city of Cleveland vibrates with belief, decades of heartbreak finally on the verge of redemption. In Game 7, exhaustion sets in. The Spurs, relentless and unshakable, exploit every weakness. The Cavaliers fight valiantly, but in the final minutes, San Antonio's depth prevails. LeBron collapses on the bench, towel over his head, knowing he has come closer than ever before, but still empty-handed. Yet in that defeat, something changes. The world sees not a failure, but a man who has fought every battle, taken every punch, and never walked away. His loyalty has reshaped not only Cleveland, but the entire NBA, and history is about to reward him. The following year, the Cavaliers push through once again. Their roster, now strengthened by trades and drafts, stands ready. The finals of 2015 pit Cleveland against a new rising force, the Golden State Warriors. Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green have revolutionized the game with their shooting and pace. And the clash between LeBron's old-school dominance and Golden State's new-wave brilliance becomes iconic. This time the outcome shifts. With his co-star healthy and his supporting cast finally strong enough, LeBron breaks through. In Game 5, with the series tied 2-2, he delivers a triple-double of 40 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. In Game 6, Cleveland seals it, their first championship in franchise history. The city erupts. Decades of heartbreak dissolve in tears of joy. Fireworks light the sky, parades fill the streets, and LeBron, standing atop a bus with the trophy in his hands, cements his place in history as the man who stayed, the man who never abandoned his home, the man who brought a championship to Cleveland on his own terms. The legacy of LeBron James in this alternate reality becomes something entirely different. Instead of criticism for chasing titles, he is hailed as the ultimate loyalist, the man who fought through adversity and delivered glory without compromise. Cleveland becomes a dynasty contender throughout the late 2010s, constantly battling Golden State in epic finals clashes. The superteam era looks different. Without Miami's Big Three, the trend never becomes as dominant. Stars still move, but loyalty regains value. Players like Kevin Durant face even more scrutiny for leaving their teams, as LeBron's example sets a new standard. For the Cavaliers, the impact is immeasurable. The franchise, once dismissed as a footnote, becomes one of the NBA's great dynasties. The city of Cleveland experiences an economic and cultural revival tied to its team's success. Generations of fans grow up not with heartbreak, but with pride. LeBron himself is immortalized. His stats, his accolades, his championships all shine brighter in the context of his loyalty. He is no longer measured only against Michael Jordan, but revered as something different. the man who redefined greatness not through shortcuts but through perseverance. His place in basketball history is unshakable, his story one of triumph, not just on the court, but in the hearts of millions. And so the question remains, what if LeBron James never left Cleveland? In this alternate reality, the answer is clear. He becomes the hero who stayed, the king who ruled his city without ever abandoning his throne, and the player whose story transcended basketball itself.